Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Jakarta Tech Talk. My name is Amandine, and joining us today is Lenny Primark, who will be presenting on the topic Jakarta EE LiveCode Quick Start. If you have any question for Lenny, as we move through today's presentation, feel free to ask it in the chat or use the Ask a Question tab. Without any further delay, Lenny, over to you.
Hello, welcome to my talk. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate your time. And let's start with who am I? I've been programming for since about like 13, 14 years old. And I discovered Java about 22 years ago in a Java 1.3, 1.4 time frame. And I was like, oh, it's a toy language. Um, however, I finally saw the light, and I've been doing Java for about 20 years, 22, 23 years, and I love it. And Jakarta EE is actually an amazing technology that I discovered not long after Java. And I'm like, why do I need to worry about writing all that stuff for myself when I can just use Java EE and then Jakarta EE and just not have any issues, just go into production, not have it crash, everything's taken care of, user interface, database, everything. So I've been doing Jakarta EE and loving it for a long time, and I want to share how easy it is to get started and actually finish a project with Jakarta EE. Okay, I'm gonna go, you guys can hide me and I can go to my screen fully here. Okay. What you may not know is I'm a private jet pilot. I've been flying for the airlines and commercially for the past 15 years. And I absolutely love it. This sky is amazing and challenging, and this is aviation is my second love. I'm also a father to my beautiful baby girl. She's 9 and married to a wonderful woman named Jill, and I love being a husband and a father. Uh, and right now, my primary job is flying airplanes, but in all my spare time, which I have a lot of, I've been doing Jakarta EE and contributing to open source. Contributing to open source, including Jakarta EE ecosystem, which I absolutely love. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and look at Jakarta EE. So I'm on the Jakarta EE website here, http:// Jakarta EE. And over here in the right-hand corner, there's a prominent little button called the starter. So let's go ahead and click that, which brings us into the Jakarta EE starter. So let's see what we can do here. Jakarta EE 11, core profile, SE21, and none. We can't really pick any other profile because right now only Open Liberty and core is supported. So we're going to have to go ahead and click Jakarta EE10, and then we can do Open Liberty. Just as an example, I just pick a random one, and we can do a full profile. And then we can just leave all this stuff alone and generate a project. And very quickly, we have a project. So let's check this out. What happened here? We have a zip file. So don't mind this size. This size is basically the Jakarta EE logo is most of it. This zip file is like 2K without that logo. It really is tiny. Let's unzip. And let's see what's in there. We can run. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, which Java am I using? Java 25. So the latest and greatest is being used. So that's fantastic. So now we could just, all we have to do is run the program in the development mode. nvnw package liberty run. I'm going to do minus NTP in here so if we have to transfer something over the internet, it doesn't show up. And crossing my fingers. Here we go. It started. Now we can't really see. Oh, yes, we can. Here we go. Let's go ahead and open up the website. Can't really select it for some reason. Here we go. Here we go. Ta-da! We don't need it that fast. We don't need it that big. Here we go. So our application is running. That was it. So now what can we do? What can we do with this? Let me demonstrate some of the things that are here. Let's go to IntelliJ, open that project up. Never mind the IDE errors. So let's look at the POM XML. Yeah, sorry about that. Make sure that I'm zoomed in correctly. Here we go. 175. Here we go. So what do we have here? We have your basic POM wrapper with a WAR packaging, a name and a description. A few of these properties we're basically doing compiler and WAR plugin, Liberty plugin, and so forth. Only one dependency, your Jakarta EE dependency, and a couple of plugins. And the sauce here is the Open Liberty plugin, which lets us run basically what I just did with the Open Liberty dev mode. So very nice, very small POM file. Let's go ahead and zoom this in a little bit. Yeah, got the wrong zoom button here. Here we go, 175. Source, web app, index. So let's say we want to modify this file. Instead of welcome, we do welcome Jakarta EE. So we go back to the website and I'm going to refresh the browser. And we have, instead of welcome, we have welcome to Jakarta EE. How about that? Live reload, it was pretty fast. I don't know exactly how fast it was, but it was, reasonably fast. We could just save and go back. Not only this, but we can also go to Java code and modify that. Plus, for example, hello says hello. So let's go to the REST API. And that didn't work. I'm not sure why, but it's not a big deal. Let's try to resave it. Oh, sometimes these dev modes are fickle, but I'll show you a better way or a slightly better way later in the presentation. Well, that's too bad. I hope to show you that it works. What I think happens, and I'll show you this. One of the problems with the Jakarta EE, the official starter, is that it's not automatically being up to date. So let's go to one of my projects here, the Base-pom, and let's copy a command that will update all my dependencies. And I guarantee you that that is going to fix the problem. So one of the couple of issues with a lot of the starters is that they're not kept up to date. Well, I just updated all the dependencies and let's go ahead and, oh, I know what I did. I know what I did wrong. I need to do Liberty dev mode, not Liberty run. So let's do this again and hopefully it'll work this time. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead with the app, and it says Jane says hello, which is what we expected. And now let's say Jane says bye, and let's see if this works. And it does. Ta-da! There you go. So dev mode works. We had to update the dependencies. We had to change some permissions, but it was pretty easy. Basically, in under 5 minutes, I had a REST API. Let me show you how easy that was. We have the REST API file right here. You just got a path and a resource that talks JSON and a query parameter. And this didn't even need to be here, but it's super easy. And the bootstrap is only at application path with an empty class name that derives from application. So we had three files. We had the resource itself, we had the setup application class here, and we have the hello, just a plain old Java object. So it's a wonderful way to get started. So so now there is only one way to no, there's not only one way to get started, but the problem isn't starting an application. Well, starting is a problem, but as you see here, it's no big deal for Jakarta EE. So, however, we don't just start projects. A lot of people do, but they don't finish them, and that is a shame. So here, for the rest of my presentation, I'd like to see what we can do to get projects not only started, but finished. And for that, I'll demonstrate a couple of features that are not present in the Jakarta EE starter. So I have created something called the FlowLogix starter. Let's look at that now. Quick start page. It's a little bit different than the Jakarta EE starter. We don't have a pick box for the Jakarta EE version or the profiles or anything like that. All we have is to configure your maven, which is here. We'll leave these blanks because the defaults are good. We can do packaging, jar or ear, or another archetype version to use, and we have some components which we want to do. So this starter gives you a more of a complete and testable application that is ready to be put into production. It can use Apache Shiro optionally, which is a security framework. Primefaces is the best, is a wonderful framework for UI applications. Maven cache speeds up your builds dramatically. However, for our demo purposes, we don't want to skip any steps today because we want to actually do all the things that I want to demo without skipping them because they're cached. Omnifaces is also a great utility library for not just for Jakarta Faces, but Jakarta itself. A GPA lazy data model is a data access API one-liner inject, which I've developed. It just makes your data access just super easy. And also, this one is a big deal, Jacoco code coverage. It is notoriously hard to set up Jacoco to run with application servers. This takes care of all of it. So let's go ahead and download this, the complete and testable starter, and let's see what we can do here. Let's quit Liberty, and I'm using Payara for my demos. So it just what I'm used to. So that's why I'm doing that. Unzip starter. Okay, so let's do the same thing that we did with the Liberty. We're going to do mvnw package Payara dev. Ta-da! And now we have a starter project. Let's open it up in IntelliJ. And let's look at the POM file. Same thing, we have group ID, artifact ID, we have the name, we have the parent file, which sets a lot of things up. And we have a few properties here for testing and dependencies. So one of the things you'll notice here is Checkstyle. So we enable Checkstyle by default to not accept crappy Java code that people might write and just stop them right in their tracks and get them to fix their problems before they appear. We have Jakarta EE API, Project Lombok, which I like. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. Some test dependencies, uh, SLF4J, and we have JPA model gen processor, which is also notoriously hard to set up. A few dependencies, which we saw in the starter page before. A few dependency management items, which are to prevent Maven from pulling in the out-of-date dependencies. And we have some Jacoco set up, which is also notoriously hard to set up. So it is about 130 files. It's 137, 136, excluding the white space. So it's not, it's not as small as the other one, but it's complete. So for a complete program, 136 files of POM, is not too bad. And I included all the features. You don't have to. So that's also, if you don't include all the features, it will shrink the size of the POM file. So let's look at the source code. So instead of says heading for the starter project, we're going to say welcome to Jakarta EE. And I'm not going to save this for reference. I'm just going to let the IDE save it. And as you just saw, I did not touch the browser. As soon as the IDE saved it in the background, the browser got reloaded all by itself. Seems like magic, but it took a lot of hard work to get that set up. But for me, not for you, because as long as you are using all the components, it will do this for you automatically and only in dev mode. Of course, you can disable it if you want, but who would? So let's try a little bit of AI to spice things up here. I'm going to use Gemini to add some code to this project. And here comes the fun part. See if AI works for you. So let's prompt something. Add a greeter greeter and add its usage to the index. See if that's a good enough prompt for Gemini to see what it does here. Its first 7 lines hidden. How would I know what the first 7 lines are? Well, all right. Let's. How do I show all the lines? Come on. Okay, I'll allow it. Oh, that seems good. Okay, I'm gonna do suggest changes. Please add the greeter instead of replacing the first line. See what it does. Sure, that looks better. Now it's like, can the no, and it wants to do clean install. No, we don't want to do that. Absolutely not. So anyway, we're going to say, can the greeter take a parameter? Because we just don't want to print hello. We want to change it. Well, I'm not sure what it's trying to do. Oh, we don't want that. We don't want any of that. Okay. So AIs went off the rails. Let's take a look. All right, so we're gonna just put in greet hello Jakarta EE. Okay, let's see. Reload all from disk. Here we go. Okay. My IntelliJ is being messy. Okay. We got it now. Okay. So let's remove this. Let's remove the old one. Set up JDK, no problem. Okay, here we go. Now we got the right greeter. Okay. We got named application scoped, greeter, hello greet. Ah, perfect. Done. And now we've got the index, hello Jakarta EE. And what is it? Oh yeah, okay. There is a little bit of an issue here, like that. Looks good. All right. Well, here we go. Hello Jakarta EE. I have to refresh the browser here because once it errors out, it stops auto reloading. But now that I fixed the error, we can do just change this. I'm going to change the code. Let's just change the code. Hello from Jakarta EE. And now auto reload immediate. So here we go. So we got pretty much the same thing we got uh, with the official Jakarta E greeter. But what we can do is just do the auto reload in dev mode. So that's perfect. Now let's do something else. I'm going to use MVND for faster response from now on. It does the same thing as the main Maven wrapper. Let's do a verify call, and it's going to execute integration tests. So we have an integration test here, unit and integration test that is pre-built right in the starter. So that's the other thing that the official starter doesn't have. So let's take a look at that. Integration tests have been notoriously hard to build. However, it is super easy here. So we have pretty much a dummy test method that asserts true is true. And we have only one method here that's called the deploy method. Usually, if you're deploying integration tests, you have a lot of setup to do in this deploy here. However, I'm able to do it just in one line here. That's it. So this is all your setup. You need a couple of annotations here to set it up, and then you're done. So let's go ahead and code up another integration test, which are also notoriously hard to set up. A user interface test. All right, we don't need it to be public. We want it to run as client because it's a user interface test. We want to also go ahead and do Payara server lifecycle. And then we could do, let's see, let's test the title, that the title is correct. First, we're gonna need to do, make sure it's a test method. And we're gonna need a couple of things. Arquillian resource, URI, base URI, we need that. And we're also going to need the browser. Okay, so now we can say that driver.get base URI to string. That's good enough. And then I'm going to say assert that. Okay, let's get that imported. Here we go. So we've got just a few lines of code that tests out that is the title correct. Let's check it out. Does it work? Here's our starter. Okay, what happened here? It says expected Jakarta EE starter, and it was starter project index page. So it did work, except for it failed because the title was wrong. So let's fix the title and rerun the test, just like you would in regular life. See what happens. Oh, There was an extra S in there. Okay, sorry. Typo. Try again. Ta-da! So here you could see it loads up Chrome, and all the tests are passing. So we have not only integration tests, but we have user interface integration tests that work right out of the box. Now, can we do a unit test? Absolutely, we can. Java class greeter test. We don't want to have unit test and integration tests in the same package. So let's move it up one. And let's say, again, we don't need that public. So test greeter. Sure, sanity. See what AI says here. Okay, it uses assert method. We don't want that. Assert that. I misspelled it again. Okay. Okay. Let's check this out. Let's see if we can add a unit test as well. And it did, and it worked. As you could see, the unit test ran and the integration test ran. So we have unit tests and we have integration tests. Now, how can we do test containers? Do we have that? We absolutely do. Just include Payara Docker profile and rerun the tests, and let's see what happens. And we have Payara running in a test container with 0 setup. Including UI tests. How about that? So you say, "Oh, Lenny, you have this all pre-set up. It takes a million years to set up for real. This is too much magic." Well, I'm gonna prove that it's not. I'm gonna set up a pretty much an empty Docker container right here. Empty Docker container. It just contains Java 25. Nothing else. No Maven. No anything. So how do I do that? I'm just going to go and yum install. I want Firefox and I want unzip because we're going to need those two to run the tests. So while this is running, let me show you some other things. Checkstyle. So Checkstyle is also notoriously hard to set up. So let's see if we just add a space in here and let's see what happens. Ta-da! Your Checkstyle has failed the build. So if somebody tries to check in bad code, it is disallowing it. So you got Checkstyle built right in. I showed you test containers, how that works. I showed you how easy it is. Also, how easy it is to do unit integration testing. You can also do releases right then and there. You can do just with a tiny bit of setup with basically nothing in your code, all in your settings.xml in your M2 repository directory. You can publish to Maven Central. So that is a great feature that's also hard to set up. There's also Dependabot. You know how in the official starter I had to update the dependencies? Well, here I don't have to update the dependencies because we have something called Dependabot auto merge. And let me show you that. I'm not going to show it in action because it takes forever and we're kind of running out of time here. So if you go ahead and go to workflow Dependabot auto merge, it's going to call the auto merge workflow again 14 lines here of YAML. So whenever Dependabot gets a dependency update, this workflow will wait for tests to run, and once they run and they're successful, it'll auto merge the change. So you don't have to approve or merge all your dependency changes. It'll do it automatically right out of the box. You can also do git init, git add status, and it'll only add the correct files. It ignores the IntelliJ files, it ignores the target, it only checks in your source code. So again, right out of the box, everything that you need is all set up. So here we have our container ready. So let's go ahead and go to the starter. And on the bottom here, you can copy the application, you can copy the settings. So once you have these settings done, you can copy the curl command line and you can paste it right in your Docker container. Okay, so now we have starter.zip. So unzip it, starter, and we do mvnw verify. Let's see if that works. Okay, let's not show transfer progress. Here goes. I'm going to take a look at, I think there might be an issue. Nah, there's no issue. There'll be an issue when I see an issue. I'm not going to pre-issue myself. The first time it downloads a lot of stuff, you just can't see it here. Ta-da! But Lenny, does it do the dev mode? It sure does. You can do dev mode right in the fresh Docker container. Oh, download a lot of stuff still. There he goes. So it downloaded, it's there. So I'm not gonna demo this to you, but it's running and it will do the auto updates just like it did in your on my local setup at home. Oh, but Lenny, can you run the Selenium tests right in there? Yes, we can. So let's take a look at this. Let's copy and paste this file. Source sort test Java, ITS, user interface IT. Let's check this out. Let's see if the Selenium tests run. And I'm really glutton for punishment here doing all this stuff. Amazing. Everything's working. The gods are smiling at me. Of course, I jinxed it right now. I jinxed all the demo gods here. But we'll see what happens. Oh, I know why it's not working. I forgot something here. I forgot to say because it's Firefox. So I'm going to say drone browser Firefox because there's no Chrome on ARM Linux. So I could have been waiting for a long time for a non-existent Chrome to start. Here we go. So we have a failure, but this is to be expected because we never changed the index page. So the user interface tests work, do not fail, and it just works in the fresh Docker container. So let's quit that. Let me show you. I think I got time for one more thing, which is the demo and snippets. As you could see, there is a demo directory in here. The beauty of this demo directory is that we can write a demo class, greeter demo, that is a demonstration for your code. And the most amazing thing is that it runs. You can test it with your unit or integration tests. And let's see, greeter. You can put it right in the documentation and Java. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to do start region greeter demo, and we're going to say end region. Just end. It's going to work, I believe. Okay, now let's go ahead and make an example from here. We're going to use Markdown Javadoc, a simple CGI bean, and we're going to say snippet. Sure, I don't think we need that. Class equals com dot. Okay, so now we're gonna say package pdocs, and let's see if we get a Java doc. Let's open it up. Target reports, API docs, index HTML, and it didn't work. Did we get a warning? Huh. Well, I guess I did jinx the demo gods because this should have shown up on the Java doc. Let's go ahead and show you a real example so you guys know if that it works. So if you go to the FlowLogix components, you go to the demo, and you could see here start region, blah blah blah. So you could see that. So if you go to javadoc.flowlogix.com. Come on. There we go. So if you go to some here, so these code snippets, code examples here, these code examples here, they come from those demo files that I just showed you. So right in there, you can use Markdown documentation. You can put snippets right from your demos, and you know they compile. There's no syntax errors in them. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to show you. So just quick recap. Jakarta EE official starter can be found at start.jakarta.ee or jakarta.ee. And if you want all the bells and whistles, you can grab them at the FlowLogix GitHub repo. The components are the quick start page, the Jakarta EE components that puts everything together, plus the maven bits are the Base-pom and the quick start dependency chain. Okay, I think that was a lot of material that we covered. If you have any feedback or questions, I am ready for those. And I can
Yes,
get rid
so
of my
there
little
was
pointer.
one question. Yeah, there was one question, and the question was, what about the dependency injection?
Well, Jakarta EE includes dependency ejection out of the box. It's I can demo it like right now if you need it, if you want to do it, but it's one of the greatest Jakarta E features. It just works out of the box, just like in any Jakarta E project. I don't know if I answered your question, but that hopefully I did.
Yeah. We will check. So I wanted to thank you for that excellent presentation today, Lenny. A reminder: if anyone in the audience has any final question, feel free to ask it. Sorry, in the chat box or use the Ask a Question tab. And also a final reminder for the Jakarta EE survey is now open. We are looking forward to your participation. I'm maybe gonna check if there is any other question. No, I don't see any other questions. So yeah, again, thank you, Lenny, and thanks to everyone for attending. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.
All right. Thank you guys. Much appreciate your time and attention.
Thank you. Bye.